We've x-rayed him and there's nothing. The vet's had a look, no wounds, no obvious problems as such. He's just very, very flat.
Where was it found, do you know?
It's caught up in some netting just on a road. Don't know how long it's been there, but it's very. I mean, they could just pick it up without it squirming or anything. So, and they kept it for a few hours.
And maybe it's just the trauma of. Yeah, you're gonna try and bite me. Maybe it's just the trauma of being caught up in some netting.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know how long he was there for, so.
It's just a bit lacklustre. He's not trying to grip or anything, are you? I think he just needs some care and attention. Maybe we'll probably just keep him in a box overnight and feed him up.
The Heap family that own it started keeping otters and owls in their Derbyshire home around about 35, probably 40 years ago now.
This is the problem, that they are so protected that they will they'll then all be caught. So it's quite valuable for fur poachers if they manage to catch the entire family group of 20. Really? Has somebody got 2?
They had a rescued otter, which I think they just kept in the back of their garden, and then from then on it just grew and grew. So now their main home is now called the Chestnut Centre, and that's where it all started. That's quite a big collection of otters and owls. About 15 years ago the business expanded and they took over here, New Forest Wildlife Park, and turned it into roughly the same concept as the Chestnut Centre. Lots of work on otter and owl conservation, rehabilitation.
Sorry.
You ready?
We've recently done a calculation that each otter cub that comes in and stays with us 15 to 18 months costs us in the region of just under £4,000 each otter. It then costs the RSPCA costings of about £1,200 to do the release. Now that's quite a lot for each little creature, isn't it?
This wild otter cub's called Evie. She came into us about 2 weeks ago. She came from an RSPCA centre in Norfolk where she'd been handed in at about 3 months old. So she was found as an abandoned cub. She was just alongside a riverbank by herself. So she was picked up and handed into the RSPCA and they gave us a call and she came down to join us. She was in the veterinary quarters for her initial assessment and she trashed the place. She obviously didn't want to be inside for very long, so we moved her out into our cub pens, which was where we've just caught her from, and we've moved her down into this pre-release pen today. Hopefully within the next couple of months we'll get an otter cub in of a similar size to her, and we'll hopefully partner them up so that they can grow up together, and then as soon as they're a year old we'll assess them for release.
Over the last 10 years we've put over 122 otters back into the wild, all of whom came from the wild and were returned to the wild. We feel that's quite an achievement and we're all very proud of it.
You're on a diet, aren't you? Stop nicking people's cheese sandwiches. You do get attached to animals. Obviously the residents more so than the wild ones coming in and out, but you do, you know, you can't work, we've got 250 animals here, so you do get those ones that you can't help, or something happens to them as they get older.
I have had some favourite animals, but they've passed away. We had a lynx here called Odin before Griskin, and I just loved going up there to see him. But unfortunately, he was old and he passed away. So not a nice part of the job, but it comes to us all, doesn't it?
You have to be quite tough. If you're soft and you work in the animal industry, then it is going to be very difficult. Obviously, you have got that hard side where you've got a certain percentage of animals that you're never going to be able to help, and you have got to draw that line. We have to have ethical meetings where we all put our opinions forward, because sometimes it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to help that animal. So that side of the job is very hard, but the satisfaction of the ones that you do manage to get to help, then obviously that is what you strive for.